Good evening, mi gente. This is your host, Collazo. You're watching and listening to the Found in Translation Bomba Live simulcast. Bomba Live and Found in Translation really are at the intersection of conversations related to Latino politics and culture. And if you grew up in North Philly like me, you know, when you're at a busy intersection like we're at, the Latino intersection of politics and culture, you look both ways and you run as fast as you can. Again, this is your host, Collazo. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, again, our live viewers on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. And please share this out with your friends. We're going to have an incredible conversation today. Later this evening, we're going to have some of the hottest reggaetoneros out in the market, Los Nenes. Chily y Topo going to be in the building. It's going to be we're going to have a great conversation with them and hear some of their new music. We're also going to get some of my news updates, our news headlines. Is Trump going to really get convicted by this Senate? And how did the CEO of Goya get so loopy? A lot going on to discuss with the news as well. But first, again, I want to thank our watchers and listeners, especially our audio files, either as a podcast, you're listening anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world, or on the radio in Philadelphia at WPPMLP 106.5 FM. The city loves you back. People Power Media. Got to rep for our folks at Philly Cam Radio. So many of you use 2020, even though it was a historically challenging year on many levels, to really start tapping into who you want to be. Maybe you had a little extra free time and a time to reflect on what direction and what passions you wanted to follow. And now you're going into 2021 feeling like you're like a caged bird ready to fly high, sky high. But what are the skills you need besides the passion that you have and the great talent that you have? What are the skills that you need? And maybe a little inspiration, a little mentorship that'll help you take it to the next level. And really, what I like to say is unleash, which is the title of this episode today, unleash your inner mogul. And so I scoured far and wide and even went into incredible places, incredible conversations like Clubhouse. And I stepped out of my comfort zone and asked this power player in Hollywood, this power player in the music industry, a true A-lister, a true guru in public relations, PR, crisis management, and just an incredible brand manager to come on my show and share her gifts and share her incredible story about she's able to tap into her inner mogul throughout her life. And she was so humble and willing to have this conversation. So we want to introduce a very special guest to the show, Uber Hollywood publicist and now an increasing television star, Barbara Lizzet Sanchez. Welcome to Found in Translation. Barbara, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
And as I like to say, thank you so much. And again, I appreciate people. Continue to share this out with your friends. It's going to be a great conversation. Our co-host, Sulaih Picorelli, will be with us in a moment to help us share, be part of this conversation. She's got a lot of questions for Barbara. She's got extensive notes. I can tell in the background here. Barbara, as I like to say with my listeners, if you don't know what Barbara Lizzet Sanchez is, just Google her because we don't have enough time to go through your accolades. But Barbara, one of the things that's so incredible, and we'll talk later, we do want to ask you about some of these celebrities that you help manage their careers, you know, the Snoops, the Danny Trejos, the T-Bozes, a lot of people in both the music and industry and in Hollywood and acting and in television and movies. But Barbara, you know, before you became one of the most celebrated Latinas in your industry, that's not where you began. So Barbara Lizzet Sanchez, where did this journey begin for you?
This journey began for me when I was 19. I started in fashion, and I eventually progressed to sales with this clothing company. Then from there, they saw that I was selling a lot of clothing, right, throughout the week. And they were like, oh, my God, like this girl knows what she's doing. And I was really good at talking to people. So that translated into putting fashion shows, scouting models, teaching them how to walk. And the next thing you know, we were just already all over Hollywood, you know, and we were known as the Hollywood fashion people, so to speak, for, you know, fashion events. And so that translated into me networking and getting into doors. And it sounds easy. It sounds easy right now because, you know, I'm just kind of like putting everything together in a nutshell. But I literally had to be, you know, outside of a venue or a club back in the day to get in to meet the heavy hitters. And I will have to pay almost like $40 or $50 just to get in the party, just so I could get myself in there and kind of sell myself. Because at that time, I didn't know anybody in the business. I didn't have the help. I really had no idea how I was going to start, but that's exactly how I got in the door. I put in a lot of footwork.
Wow, and hustle is such a big part of it. And one of the things that one of my favorite phrases that entrepreneurs like you use is "fake it till you make it," because a lot of times there's a lot of what the buzz term is imposter syndrome in our community. We feel like we don't have a prestigious resume, or don't feel like we have a title. We just don't have something, whatever we think that is, that gives us the right and gives us the legitimacy to pursue our dreams. So Barbara, how did you come over that imposter syndrome, that fear, and put your faith in yourself to make that investment in yourself, to just go for it and build those connections in Hollywood?
Well, honestly, I do have to say it was a process, because you have to, number one, you have to believe in yourself. As cheesy as that sounds, that's exactly it. That's the formula to actually get in the door with people. You have to believe you're a product. So you have to sell yourself, because you don't have anyone behind you doing that for you. So the number one step is always believe in yourself, know your worth, and know that you are valuable. Know what you can bring to the table. When you already have that mentality, kind of like the A games, mentality, you're like, okay, I'm going to get myself in the door, and there's no plan B, because it distracts from plan A. So you always have just plan A. Like if you apply for a job, that's a job you need to focus, and there's no other job, because you are going to get it, period. So the laws of attraction are a really good example of this analogy that I just mentioned, because as far as you are already in the door. You have to visualize you there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And I think oftentimes, even if people feel like they maybe have the confidence to take that step and at least get themselves there, they don't know how to sell themselves. And there's a lot of people that are confident when they're doing the talent and doing the, sharing their talents, but they may not feel comfortable like pitching themselves, for lack of a better term, and sort of selling themselves and marketing themselves. So how have you helped yourself and customers and your staff and other people that you mentor? I know you mentor a lot of women in particular. We're going to talk about that in a moment. How have you helped people craft their pitches, their confidence in their skills, to not just get better in their craft, but to be able to market themselves for clients and to build networks?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually started, going over their Instagram in today's time, because Instagram is such a, wonderful tool for networking. And now Clubhouse, right? Now we got Clubhouse. But everybody goes to your Instagram regardless, because even when you're in Clubhouse, you have the link in your bio. I mean, in your bio, you have to put in your Instagram link. So now everybody goes there, number one. So then I make sure that my clients are good on their following, on their posts, how they conduct themselves. I mean, I always do quality over quantity, but just to answer your question on how I help them is I have a wonderful team now. We all go through through the client, to the potential client, and then we actually assess what they need, depending on what industry they're in, whether you're a small business, a celebrity, an athlete, whatever it is. That's kind of like the process that we go through to make sure that they get the right pitch. And we don't have them do the pitch. We do it for them, because that's why you hire a publicist, to do it for you.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And we're talking to the Uber Publicist in Hollywood, Barbara Lizzet Sanchez, here on Bomba Live Found in Translation Simulcast. Just really excited. She's helping us. We're going to unleash our inner moguls, fam, in 2021. Really excited about this. And again, later in the show, they're already in the background. Chily y Topo, Los Nenes de Reggaetón are going to be joining us for our musical guest later on this show. But before we bring Sulaih, my co-host, on, she's got a bunch of questions for you as well. I wanted to ask you, Barbara, to me, you're dealing with what's so interesting about your craft is that you deal with very diverse clientele. You've got people in hip hop, and you have people that are on high-end boutique reality television. So
Yeah.
how do you is there big differences between the music people that you have and the entertainers that you have? Because to me, they have different needs, and they're very different kind of people.
Yes, absolutely. they do have different needs and different levels of of things that we need to do with them. So a musician will not need what an actor needs, obviously. So that's, there's a gap. But it goes hand in hand at the end of the day, because they both are going to need a press release. They're both are going to need visibility. They're both are going to need interviews like this, and articles written about them, about what they're doing with their projects. So at the end of the day, it has a lot to do with you handling the clients, where they need to go. So you're driving the car and kind of like, you're guiding them through the channels and be like, okay, this is what we need to do. Because me as the publicist, I already know where I need to take you. So you just got to trust me and just, go for the ride.
Yeah, Barbara definitely endears a lot of confidence with her clients. And again, the list is incredible. You've done work with Cypress Hill. Like I say, Barbara.
Yes.
It's DJ Muggs' birthday today. Want to shout Muggs out.
Yeah.
My crowd is big in the hip hop scene, and the LA hip hop scene very well with your client base, and that's a distinct culture. It gets a lot of attention on Clubhouse as well. And Muggs is very close to my brother and Vinny Paz, some of the people in that rap group, which I want to connect you with at some point. And we're listening and talking to Barbara Lizzet Sanchez here on Bomba Live. I'm going to bring my co-host here, who's not only a fantastic broadcaster, but a burgeoning entertainer in her own right. Sulaih Picorelli, welcome back.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me back, Ray. And I'm so excited to meet you, Barbara.
Likewise. I'm super excited. I love your hair.
Thank you so much. My COVID hair, yes. I had really, really short hair and let it grow out during COVID.
I love it. I love it.
So, Sulaih, I know you're chomping at the bit to ask Barbara some questions from the perspective of an aspiring entertainer and someone that's just fascinated with Barbara's career trajectory.
Well, Barbara, first of all, it's wonderful to hear you speak from a place of so much experience. So I feel so lucky to just, have you in front.
You're so sweet. Thank you.
We were talking before the show started, if you could give some of us some advice on, maybe we cultivated a talent in our youth. And, maybe we had to step aside because life happened. I'm a mom now, and I'm going to be honest. I'm just dying to get back into, maybe creating content to talk about all of that music that I did back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh no, I'm sorry. What did you say?
No. I want to hear the advice.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So number one, that I always let everybody know is make mistakes. Make all the mistakes you need to make, because that's what's gonna, take you to the next level of your success. Your failures are so wonderful, and I mean this. Like, your failures are gonna be, they're like the clue of the next step of where you need to go. So don't be afraid to fail, at anything you do. Like, if you want to create a podcast, or, you want to go into acting, research casting agents, you know what I mean? Like, and then get a publicist, obviously. That's going to help you with all of that. And sometimes people don't have the budgets, and I understand, because, we're in coronavirus right now, so we totally get it. But one thing I do have to say is, if you need the help from somebody like myself to help you start a business, you need business management, obviously, to help you open an LLC or any kind of, nonprofit or whatever it is that you want to do. There are resources. So it starts with a person like me that has those type of resources. So you could also, you could do a lot of research on Instagram, Clubhouse. Now we have Clubhouse. So Clubhouse is amazing for those type of connections, because you have access to people that you never had access before. So I've been on stages with Grant Cardone, Forrest Riley. I mean, it's just been amazing, right? But you have to be resourceful. You have to get really, there.
Barbara, can I just step in on that, and then I'll I know Sulaih's got some other questions and follow up. Can you give us an example? Because we often hear this from successful people: fail, you got to fail, you got to try, you got to fail. But can you give us an example? Because I think what I want people to understand, the key to that statement is that you have to fail by really going out of your comfort zone and trying something that almost seems crazy to other people, because the bigger failures are the ones that'll provide your biggest successes. So can you give us an example? You know, that's where I think people look. I mean, mistake? Yeah, I mean, you're on top of the heap, and people. It's hard for people to imagine watching this and listening to this where you failed, or what does that mean? So give us an example where you failed and spectacularly, because I think that's kind of the key, right?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking that. Yes. So I myself started working at McDonald's, right? So I was working at Mickey D's, and when I started working there, I was so disappointed. I was like, oh my God, like, what am I doing here? This is not my calling. What the heck? But I knew that it was a bus stop, right? It was just like, if you look at it as a bus stop and like another bus is going to come and pick you up, that's going to get you motivated to do whatever it takes. But I failed so miserably at going at events, not getting in with the right people, not being able to connect with the celebrities I wanted. I got so many no's. And no, we're not going to do this for you. We're not going to hire you. You don't have the experience. So when I worked at McDonald's, I became the best employee. I was manager of the year. I made it a point to be the best at everything that I did. My determination got me to the next success. Every time I failed, instead of crying about it, and of course you do cry, you let it out, but then you pick yourself back up and like, okay, how am I going to make this happen now? And like I said, the failures are your kind of clues to the next, success in your life. So when I became really successful, right, in my career at McDonald's, I was like manager of the year and all the things. Yeah, and people hated me there because, man, don't even let me get started with that. But people did not like me. It was a big controversy when I became a manager because they're like, well, she doesn't go on the grill. She doesn't know this. She doesn't know that. But again, I believed in myself and I said, I'm going to make it a goal to become the best person here while I'm here. Right. And so after that, I was doing my networking. I was working my 9 to 5. I was doing a million of other things and I kept failing at it. And I kept failing and failing and failing and failing. And I was like, okay, what am I going to do to make this happen? It got to a point where I was like, okay, so this has not worked. What is next for me? So then that's when I started visualizing and actually doing vision boards. And I started writing every single day when I woke up in the morning. I started writing 3 things that I was grateful for. And every morning I made it a point to be like, I'm thankful for my job. I'm thankful for, whatever. And it goes so, oh my God, it's so good to write what you're grateful for, because gratitude will actually make a change in your life. And from that, I started attracting more of a positive, perspective about life, and people started coming to me naturally. Once I got in the door, people started actually gravitating towards me. But that's basically how I got in, because of my determination, and I didn't let my failures get, the best of me. So you got to put in the work. And if you really want it, you have to go after. My mom told me, you're not going to make it. You're not going to be successful because you have 2 kids. There's no way as a mom you're going to be out there in Hollywood and be what you're claiming to be. My own mother told me that. And I was like, oh, it's on now. So that's basically how you get.
What does she think now, Barbara? ¿Qué piensa ahora?
Ahora está toda emocionada. She's like, oh my God, mija, you're on Forbes, you're on this, on. But I proved them wrong, I proved them wrong. And more importantly, I proved myself that I could do it. That was the biggest satisfaction, because I doubted myself too for so many years. I was like, my God, Barbara, like, just get yourself out of this. You're not good for this. You're not cut out for this. I also put myself in that mentality. But then once I was able to break through, I was like, okay, I can do this.
And we're talking to Barbara Lizzet Sanchez, a real dynamo and a powerhouse publicist, public relations expert, and now venturing out. Some of you Love and Hip Hop heads remember her from Love and Hip Hop in Hollywood, and she's made appearances on the Steve Harvey Show. And in a moment, she's going to tell us about a new television venture, reality show venture she's got cooking that we want to support her on as well. Barbara, you're going to be back in a moment. Sulaih and I are going to go over the news headlines of the week, and I'm going to share some political analysis. And then when you come back, Barbara, we want to hear some about you are not only incredibly successful in Hollywood and the music industry, you're giving back. So we want to talk a little bit about some of the philanthropic work that you do. And also, look, we do, we're fans here. We want to hear a little bit about some of the celebrities you rub elbows with and help guide their careers. And again, you're watching and listening to Barbara Lizzet Sanchez on Bomba Live, Found Translation Simulcast. She'll be back in a moment. And listen, now Sulaih Picorelli, my co-host, is going to kick us off with the news.
Well, this news cycle has me in a headspin. I don't know about you. With all of these executive orders coming through, I can't even keep track of all of them.
It's executive. Yeah, well, unfortunately, because we don't have Congress doesn't work the way it used to be. Presidents are using executive orders more than ever, but there's certainly a lot to make up for in the last 4 years.
Well, first, most Senate Republicans voted to stop former President Donald Trump's impeachment trial, making it unlikely that the Senate will find 67 votes to convict Trump of sedition. I call him Trumped. I don't know why, but after the January 6th attack on our nation's capital to stop the certification of our presidential election, we have several Capitol Police officers dead or severely injured. Ray, what do you think if, no one's called to justice?
Yeah, well, I mean, the Republicans in the Senate are signaling that they're not going to. We would need 17 of them. 2/3 of the Senate would have to convict. He's already been impeached by the House, and so it really shows an incredible lack of leadership by one of our two major Republican parties, and this incredible hubris that they have to say, well, what's done is done. Why convict? Why hold people accountable? Why should people get why should people get arrested or censured or punished? And it's almost like saying, well, I already burned your house down, so why do you have to why do you have to put me in jail? What's done is done. It's just the logic of it is incredible. I don't know if people saw AOC tweeted back at Ted Cruz who said, hey, there's an issue we could work on together, this GameStop issue and some of the crazy things happening on Wall Street. And she said, I don't have a problem working with Republicans if I agree with them on something, but you tried to get me killed 3 weeks ago. And that's
right.
Really the level of terror that not only Trump, but Senators Hawley, Cruz, and other Republican enablers have continued to implement, because we have House members that want to bring guns into the Capitol, that have threatened women of color, House members.
I'm concerned about that woman that you just referred.
Oh yeah, no, she's Marjorie Smith is she needs to be expelled from Congress, and I think
she is
Democrats in the House.
She's an elected official.
Yeah, but if you there are mechanisms where the House can kick you out, so that is a possibility. So that's something to keep in touch with. But the bottom line is, don't let anyone tell you that what's done is done. I commit a crime, I get punished for it, and it doesn't matter how rich you are, famous, powerful. Everyone should be held accountable.
Or who you're family with. If you're Robert Unani, the CEO of Latino Food, you're going to get your slap on the wrist for doing bad things. So listen to this. He will no longer be able to speak to the media without permission first, after he shared baseless claims of voter fraud in media interviews. If he wasn't a member of the founding family, he would have been expelled.
No question about it. So the first thing I think about is Vita, Vita, Vita Ross, just thinking about alternative. Shout out to Alan Taveras, Joel Berocal. This week, Sulaih, Brands of Puerto Rico established a formal partnership with the National Puerto Rican Chamber of Commerce. So we're going to be promoting that theme of working with our small business owners and our hustlers. And, look, nobody owes I know Goya, that brand, has a lot of cultural salience with our community, and I understand that. And sometimes, look, it's hard to find something that isn't Goya a lot of times. But the bottom line is we have other businesses, we have other caterers, we have other people that make our food. So let's give people a chance. And that guy, he only has that job because of his last name. I mean, he is really drinking the Kool-Aid, and somebody needs to get to him, because he's really preaching some very dangerous rhetoric that could hurt our community.
And finally, Ray, we have a Bomba Live exclusive, and it turns out that Unidos Action Fund today released a report on impact of prescription drug prices on Latinos. This is something that's really unfortunate. The survey finds that majority of Latinos take prescription drugs and are worried they won't be able to afford them. I hope this isn't going in the direction of, the cost of insulin, for example.
Well, that's exactly the point. So Unidos U.S. Action Fund, really one of the first times ever we've had a chance to really take a deep survey with Latinos around the country about their thoughts about prescription drugs. The majority of our adults need to take at least one prescription drug. The Latino adults that take prescription drugs, the majority of them take at least 3. So we're incredibly reliant on prescription drugs for, like you said, diabetes, asthma, obesity, high blood pressure. And so COVID has even exacerbated this, tightened our budgets even more. So it's making these drugs even more inaccessible, and really concerned that, drugs are going to become more and more too expensive. We have friends around the country, I don't have to tell you, that are dealing with serious health issues, that they're getting kicked out of the hospital, kicked off, and being told that even insurance is not going to cover the incredible costs of some of these life-saving drugs. So we're going to continue to elevate this issue. You're going to hear more from me and from Unidos U.S. Action Fund on this issue. And if you check out Unidos U.S. Action Fund on social media, you can actually download the report. There's actually some Pennsylvania-specific data in there, Sulaih, who I'm sure you and our local friends will find interesting.
That sounds awesome. Are we having Barbara back?
Yeah, we're going to bring her back. What we're going to do is we're going to play a quick snippet from our Parranda Christmas episode. So give Barbara a chance to catch her breath. And then we come back, we're going to hear more from Barbara Lizzet Sanchez, and we're going to bring on Frankie, from the manager of Chily y Topo, that's going to give us his thoughts on this conversation. Another mogul in the music game, and we'll get 2 moguls talking about their experiences in music. So we're going to watch this great clip from our Parranda episode, and we'll be right back with Barbara.
Sí, señor. Llegó su marido. Sí, señor. ¿Y qué le trajo? Un globón. ¿De qué color? Verde limón. Verde limón. ¿Camisa? Tengo camisa. No tengo camisa. Tengo calzón. La botellita. Tiene tapita. Y el botellón. Me lo bebo yo. Quítale, 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 quítale el tapón. Quítale, 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 quítale el tapón. Quítale el tapón. Quítale el tapón. Eso. Come on, I'm going to do the show for the Puerto Ricans.
That's hilarious. And we're back with that. So the context of that is that Barbara, Funky Bacalao Ivelisse, I don't know, Matos, I think is her last name. Ivelisse is a big IG star. She makes these funny videos, a lot of Puerto Rican themes, and someone at some point I'd like to connect you with. But so she's literally, doing that little skit in her apartment in Florida, and people walk by and see it, and they wanted to get in her house because they thought there was like a party going on there. So that was a lot of fun. So I was like, yeah, there was sort of, but as I said at the end of that clip, that's a good Puerto Rican party. People show up unannounced. That's kind of how we operate. And we're here with my co-host, Sulaih Picorelli, and a real, a powerhouse in Hollywood, in the music industry, publicist, Uber Publicist, I like to say, Barbara Lizzet Sanchez, who's giving us some jewels about how we're going to unleash our inner mogul in 2021. Sulaih, I know you had another question for Barbara.
Well, this one more, aligned with her work in crisis management, and, really wanting to find out how all of that informs your work in public relations.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So basically, when I do the damage control for a celebrity brand, anybody, I like to communicate with the reporters and obviously the media outlets, because they control the narrative of what's going on. So, for example, we had a damage control with last year, I think it was last year, for the tour on my clients. Well, one of my clients, Ras B from B2K, it's a boy band, and they came back on tour. They were really successful in the 90s, and then they came back fully with the tour. And so my client Ras B was going through some situations, and he would go on Instagram and speak about the situations, and it wasn't a good look for the sometimes for the tour, or the blogs will twist it, will twist his words, which happens all the time. And so I will have to go in and put out the fires. I will have to, call the blogs directly and ask them to take it down because it was damaging for the tour. Something similar happened with when we were putting the press conference for Snoop. There was a controversy with him signing with another booking agent versus Bobby D, which is the one he ended up, choosing over this other agency. So it was a lot of controversial stuff, controversy everywhere. Why did he go with this and not with that? And, it was a whole thing. So we had to be on the phone with the media outlets and kind of like put out those kind of fires because it was a lot. So
Barbara, so this is a good question. So like, how are you negotiating that? Because look, on some level, this is what the media wants. Yeah, and the media wants controversy. They want drama, especially with urban artists. They want drama. They want fighting. They want. So how are you approaching them to try to smooth over the situation? Because they're not lying necessarily. You just don't want them to exaggerate it.
Yeah, you negotiate with the media outlets, and not only that, you also have the relationship already with them, the respect. So when you actually build that respect throughout the years, they're friends of mine now. So it's like, they understand. I understand as much as I understand they have to make money off of these headlines and the scandals. They also understand I have a job to do. So the mutual respect is there. So we negotiate. We're like, hey, listen, take this down for a minute. You can bring it back. After whatever the tour, whatever it is that we're doing comes back on, you could bring it back then. But, kind of like, just lower.
And there's a scandal in 2 weeks, but in 6 months, they're going to want an interview with you too. So it's about a long-term relationship.
Exactly.
Barbara, we wanted to make sure before we bring on the management and Chily y Topo, who wanted to give you a shout out, and we wanted to have a few moments with all of you together on our show. But we did want to ask you, you're also a tremendous philanthropist. And, we really admire the work you do with single women in particular, all the charities you're involved in. But I know that the issue of empowering single mothers, is something that's very important to you.
Yes, it is, because I'm a domestic violence survivor. So definitely I want to make an impact on that end, because I understand what it is not to be seen and not to have a voice. So I definitely want to, provide that for women out there, and our younger generations too, because they get stuck in that vicious cycle and they don't know how to get out of it. So it's really important for me to make that difference, me being a survivor. So, yeah.
Wonderful. So, and we support domestic violence survivors. That's one of our core sort of campaigns here. Shout out to Christina Vega, that runs the Love Shouldn't Hurt movement and her own talk show. We definitely want to connect you with that. Sulaih, I know you had another sort of insider question, and I had another one too before we bring on Chily y Topo and that crew.
Yeah. No, honestly, I just want everyone to be able to have a way to communicate with Barbara. Would you tell us where we can find you, where we can go to engage with your content?
Yeah, of course. Well, Instagram is the primary, platform where you can find me. And it's Barbara Sanchez and PR. So you can just DM me there. That's the best, easiest way to get a hold of me. My email's also on my bio. So emails work best as well, because then I get notifications right away. And, I'm quick to answer the emails. So, yeah.
Barbara, let's go back. I mean, you work with an incredible roster of celebrities and artists that we all love. I mean, Danny Trejo is a personal favorite. We talked about Cypress Hill earlier, but Snoop is the big dog. Let's keep it real. So give us some. I mean, we know, especially from his background in LBC, he's got a lot of love for the Latino community. Not surprised he would collaborate with you. So I think that's very, very appropriate. Do you manage
his? You hear his song with Banda MS? Hello.
Seguro. That's right.
Yes,
that's right.
He put that together with Snoop.
Yeah. So just give us a little bit about what an incredible opportunity to work with Snoop you have.
So it's been an incredible experience, because it's so surreal, because I'm a fan, number one. So I listened to him since I was in high school. So now working with him, it's like, what? So when I first got hired, it was like 2 years ago. Bobby D, thanks to my business partner, Patricia Torres, shout outs to Patty. She's the one that brought me to the team, and she was like, hey, we need another publicist. because we're about to go into the tour, the Want to Thank Me tour. And so we need to put together the press conference and the press release and, all that good stuff. So I was like, oh, okay, yes, of course. Let's definitely do it. So then, so we got together. We put the press conference in November of last year, and it was a success. And Snoop was super happy about it. And I've been working with him and Bobby D till this day.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, just obviously our salutations, our best to Snoop and Bobby D and your team out there. And we've always had a lot of respect for Snoop. And again, besides just being a global superstar and icon, he's always shown from day one, not just of course, most recently with the music, from day one, he's always shown a lot of love for the Latino community. So we give Snoop a respect on a lot of levels. Well, speaking of Latinos in the hip hop game and in urban music, we want to bring on not only Chily y Topo, but their manager, Frankie, who also has a great story to share. And I know we wanted to spend a few moments all together because he's hustled to achieve his dream of being in the music industry. So really proud to introduce Los Nenes, Chily y Topo, and their manager, Frankie. Buenas noches, familia.
Hi.
Hey, guys.
Buenas noches.
¿Cómo se sienten? ¿Cómo están en esta noche?
No puedo oír, familia.
No se oye.
No los oímos.
Hello. You're very faint. You're very faint. All right, well, we have to work on that. All right, just work on it in the background. Just keep working on it. We'll be back. Hey, I think you're in the headphones. That's what it is. Can you say something now? I think you're on the headphones. Can you say something now, Frankie? Frankie, can you hear me? I think you're on the headphones. Frankie, can you say something? Can somebody say something? Okay, yeah, we can hear you, brother. All right. We have to work on that. All right, LB, our producer will help you in the background, guys. Sulaih, do you have another question for Barbara?
Let's see.
All right. Well, I got a question for you, Barbara.
Yeah.
This is my son, my oldest Troy. Say hi.
Nice to meet you.
The rails have jumped over the show. Yeah, he's a cutie. So, Barbara, give our friends out there another hint in terms of, this. They want to break into your industry. They love public relations. Maybe they're not in Hollywood. They may have some connections with local celebrities or people that need your services. These type of services. So what's your advice for people that want to get into the industry?
Yeah, just be very dedicated and consistent, and make sure that you are interacting with a lot of people on Instagram, in Clubhouse, if you're already in there. But if that doesn't work, email me.
Yeah.
I can guide you through the process, because I wish I had somebody like me when I started, because I had MySpace. So
that's right. Wow, back in the days.
Yeah, back in the day. It was.
Oh, you doing that in junior high school? That was a few years back, Barbara.
That was MySpace?
Yes, Barbara.
You're right. I like you because you're not revealing my age. Even though some people anyways. But yeah, so you definitely have to be resourceful. And if you want to get into places, nowadays everything is super easier than when it was back then. So Instagram, social media platforms are the...
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's give this another shot. Frankie. Hello.
Todavía nada. Nada.
Okay. All right, one more try. Go log in and out. We didn't get a chance to talk about your on-screen career. So you've been on Love and Hip Hop Hollywood. You appeared on the Steve Harvey Show. Tell us about your new project where you're going to be in front of the camera.
Yeah, so it's my friend Stevie Nunez. He's a radio host out of Miami. So he invited me to be a part of it's called Bochinche of Air, and it's about Latinos in Hollywood. So it's kind of like the whole Bochinche of Air, yeah. And
yes.
No, go ahead.
I wanted to ask, qué curioso que el programa se llame Bochinche, porque te quería preguntar si tu latinidad ¿piensas que te ayudó en tu jornada o la pasaste algo difícil? ¿Qué tal?
Sí, la pasé difícil. Mi latinidad fue difícil porque
Ajá.
yo llegué a los Estados Unidos a los 15 años y no sabía nada de inglés.
Wow.
Entonces, eso era parte de todo. Tenía que aprender el lenguaje y la cultura y venir aquí en high school. Sí, fue una transición tremenda.
¿Y de qué parte de México viniste?
De la Ciudad de México.
Ay, qué bonito.
Sí,
yo siento un amor tan grande por la cultura mexicana. Crecí en Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
Ya hay una comunidad grandísima de mexicanos bellos.
Sí, gracias, igualmente, sí, no, yo amo mis puertorriqueños y dominicanos y de todo, mis vecinos son hermosos, todos los amo. Me encanta ser latina, me encanta tener ese background, ¿no? Porque
una chispa especial.
Sí, claro, crecemos de una manera distinta, ¿no? Tenemos otra mentalidad.
Sí, no, claro.
De sobrevivir, porque yo cuando crecí en la Ciudad de México era sobrevivir, estaba pesado.
¿Comemos o comemos?
Exactamente, o comemos aquí, porque eso me enseñó mucho a sobrevivir aquí. Y este es el país de las oportunidades, este país es hermoso. Es bello en ese sentido y me apoyaron mucho ya después, pero al principio sí fue un poquito difícil porque sí me hacían burla por mi acento o por mis cosas que decía mal, o me entiendes así. Entonces tú sabes, los muchachos son crueles, ¿no? Entonces cuando vienes aquí y todo eso. Y unos fueron muy hermosos, mis maestros de inglés, porque yo demandé que me pusieran en las clases de inglés inmediatas. Yo no quería estar en clases de ¿cómo se llama? De ESL, que se dice, ¿no? Y yo decía, no, quítenme de ahí, yo no quiero estar aquí. Y corté a muchos amigos al principio. Esa es otra cosa. Tienes que cortar a la gente que no te está beneficiando, que no va a ningún lado. Y es triste, pero yo tuve que dejar a todos mis amigos que no hablaban inglés para empezar a yo empecé a juntarme con más afroamericanos, filipinos, güeros, de todo. Dije yo, ¿sabes qué? Aquí voy a agarrarme porque mi comunidad no progresa.
Y también que eso te ayudó a desenvolverte en esas comunidades, en esas personas. Ya como podemos ver, estás disfrutando de un success enorme y esperando ver. Yo, en lo personal, me voy a comunicar contigo.
Sí, por favor, conéctate conmigo. En lo que yo te pueda ayudar, aquí estoy.
Muchas gracias. Y de veras que los chicos puedan volver al screen para que porque tienen.
Let's see here. We're working on it. Let's see if they're ready to go for it here.
¿Me escucha?
Chily y Topo. Hello.
Ahora me escucha.
Perfecto, García. Frankie y los nenes, Chily y Topo, felicidades. Bienvenido a Bomba Live, familia.
Amén, gracias, un placer.
Qué bueno. Bueno, Sulaih, fíjate que Frankie, yo creo que tiene mucha historia en este negocio de música también, que por ejemplo, muchas de la historia de Barbara suena contigo, ¿verdad que sí?
Estaba entretenido escuchando eso, no pude escuchar bien la historia de Bárbara, pero hay muchas cosas, depende de lo que quieran oír, ¿entiendes? Tantas cosas, tienen 150,000 historias esto. Toda la música tiene historia por todos lados diferentes.
¿En dónde se encuentran actualmente?
En New York, Washington.
Bien, qué bien. ¿Y los chicos, cómo se conocieron? ¿Cómo comenzaron su dúo?
Nosotros somos hermanos de sangre, padre y madre.
Sí. Y desde chiquitos se ponían en la sala a entretener a todo el que llegaba.
¿Qué te puedo decir?
¿Cómo que no?
Más a los panas míos, tú sabes, con mi hermano mayor y eso. Y Chily,
bueno.
¿verdad?
Qué bueno. We're gonna get back to Frankie and Chily y Topo in a minute, but we just want to give a chance to say goodbye to Barbara. I know she's very busy. We really appreciate your time, Barbara.
Yes.
Barbara, do you have any música urbano artists? You have any reggaetoneros in your stable yet?
I do actually. I have a
Okay.
couple. Yeah, we also work with reggaeton artists for sure. Yeah, we did a couple concerts with Daddy Yankee and and Sash and other artists in the reggaeton area. So we definitely tap into that as well.
Perfecto. And then that's obviously a big the music's incredible on the West Coast. Well, Barbara Lizzet Sanchez, mil gracias, mija. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your incredible story. And next time we'll get into more chisme about all the other great roster. And you're becoming a celebrity in your own right. So it's going to be interesting to see what 2021 has for you.
Yeah.
I think you're going to get more recognition in front of the camera. So that evolution is going to be very interesting.
Yes, definitely. And I'll be back to, tell you guys about that. So thank you for having me. Yeah, both.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Bye, chicos.
Nos vemos. Thank you so much, Barbara. And Sulaih is going to continue the interview with Chily y Topo and their manager, Frankie.
Jala que se apaga.
Ay, chicos, de veras que me da tanta alegría. En preparación de la entrevista de esta noche, estaba escuchando algunas de las canciones que encontré en YouTube y de veras que me sorprendió mucho la que hicieron con Carla Morrison en marzo de 2020. ¿Cómo llegaron a esta colaboración? Si nos hablan un poco.
Pues en verdad, eso no es una colaboración, eso viene siendo una versión de reggaetón que nosotros hicimos de ese tema. Sí.
Oh, wow. ¿Cómo funciona? A ver.
O sea, eso fue así, se estaba yendo viral, todo el mundo estaba haciendo su versión. A nosotros nos gustó, nosotros decidimos hacerla, pero en vez de hacerla normal, la hicimos en reggaetón. ¿Tú entiendes lo que te digo? Versión reggaetón. Claro.
Les quedó brutal, me encantó. ¿Saben si ella la ha escuchado?
¿Cómo?
¿Saben si ella la habrá escuchado la canción?
No sabemos.
Yo espero que sí.
Esperamos que sí. A ver, chicos, les quería preguntar, porque sé que en estos tiempos con la pandemia hemos todos, pues, necesitando nos tenemos que quedar en casa, ¿no? Y quizás no han tenido, pues, el mismo acceso al público como el año pasado. Cuéntenme qué han hecho para mantenerse en contacto con su público.
Pues, ¿qué te puedo decir? Ya tú sabes que ahora por esto de la pandemia no se puede hacer party ni nada. Y pues, tú sabes que lo que hay es redes, Instagram, YouTube, mucho live y fotos. Hacer
y grabar música nueva.
¿Cómo?
Y grabar música nueva.
Todos los días en el estudio, mira. Estamos aquí ahora mismo en la nave.
¿Sí? ¿En qué trabajaron hoy?
Hoy, fíjate, hoy no hemos grabado nada, pero si nos ponemos a grabar ahora mismo, sale fuego.
That's awesome. Estuve también escuchando la canción que recién salió, 46, si me hablan un poco de ella.
Sí, el 46, eso en verdad es un mensaje social, ¿sabes? No hay mucha gente que se atreve a hablar por el pueblo y pues yo siento que pudimos dejar un poco sentir lo que la gente quiere en verdad dejar sentir.
Es que últimamente con esto de la pandemia, uno se levanta noticia y con lo que estaba pasando con el expresidente, uno se levanta noticia. Una mañana me levanté y dije, vamos a hacer una canción que tenga que ver con esto que está pasando en la noticia, todo esto que está pasando. Llamo a Chily, le digo la idea y rápido salimos con, ya no es el 45, ahora es el 46, que viene el cambio de presidente y a la misma vez caemos con el tiempo. Vamos a tirar para adelante. No, pero tengan cuidado con eso, que eso es un tema muy delicado. No estamos diciendo nada malo, simplemente que cambió el gobierno, ¿entiendes? Ya no es el 45, es el 46. Y para ir con el tiempo y tanto enfoque en las noticias o hacer algo que vaya con el tiempo.
Bueno, ese es tremendo éxito, hermanos. Y tenemos ese clip ahora, el video. Vamos a escuchar un poquito de su música y regresamos con Chily y Topo.
Na, 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 na. Na, 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 na. Hey, hey, hey. Goodbye.
Oye, bienvenidos a un nuevo capítulo, a un nuevo cambio y futuro. Ya no el 45, ahora el 46, el 46, el 46. Ya no el 45, ahora el 46, el 46, el 46. Ya no el 45, ahora el 46, el 46, el 46. Ya no el 45, ahora el 46, el 46, el 46. Ya salimos de esa crisis y rompimos ese capítulo.
Ustedes me dicen de eso, ¿qué ustedes creen?
No, está buenísimo que se hayan mantenido ocupados y trabajando pues en su talento. ¿Van a grabar un disco nuevo? ¿Sale algo pronto? ¿Qué están haciendo?
Sí, puede que como en 2 semanas sale un Spanish Drill que nosotros tenemos con un colega de nosotros, Limayi, que eso es a romper la carretera, ya tú sabes, que eso es lo nuevo que viene, el nuevo género.
Dime tu nombre, ¿cuál es Chily? ¿Cuál es Topo?
Ok, no nos presentamos bien, baby. Yo soy Topo, él es Chily y Topo.
Ok, ahora sí. Entonces, ¿ustedes escriben sus propias canciones o es el manager quien les ayuda?
Eso es así, nosotros escribimos nuestras propias canciones, sí.
Yeah, ellos escriben, tienen todo su propia, cuando ellos oyen los sonidos, escuchen, yo mayormente cojo los sonidos, pero ellos escriben su propia letra y tienen sus propias ideas. Hay veces que en el aire uno le tira una que otra cosa, mira, esta idea para esto, y lo motiva, ¿entiendes? Dándole motivación, pero ellos son dueños de sus letras, ellos son dueños de su propio arte en el lápiz.
Frankie, eso está súper chévere. Entonces llevas trabajando con el grupo, cultivándolo y ayudándolo, pues, en todo este revolú de ser artista.
Todo esto desde el principio, desde que me lo presentaron por teléfono, me lo pusieron en FaceTime, me tiraron un free, yo dije, esto es lo que ando buscando por 20 años. Boom, porque yo...
20 años.
Sí, porque yo estuve bastante mezclado en el principio de reggaetón con Daddy Yankee, Nicky Jam.
Wow.
No queremos hablar de eso, pero hay muchas cosas que estamos mezclados en eso, pero después que uno tiene algo en la mano y se va, uno se queda como con la agresividad que va a encontrar algo, que va a superarlo, que va a llegar por ese camino. Tardó tiempo en volver a encontrar.
De verdad, deseo muchos miles de éxitos y si nos cuentan en dónde podemos encontrarlos, en dónde están sus redes sociales.
Dale, chiquito,
Pues mira, tú puedes ir por todas las plataformas digitales, lo que tú quieras, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Thriller, ¿sabes? Todas las plataformas digitales, tu plataforma favorita, ahí estamos nosotros dándole.
Chily y Topo.
Perfecto. Yo tengo algunas preguntas. Repite, disculpa, repite.
Sí, para asegurarle a la gente, porque a veces se debe un poco. Chily con Y, ¿sabes? Las 2 Y.
Exacto.
Sí. Topo, baby, la nueva.
Y ese es su nombre del programa de Narcos, ¿verdad que sí?
Sí.
O sea,
¿Cómo identificó su nombre para su grupo?
¿Cómo nació? ¿Cómo nos pusimos Chily y Topo?
Sí.
Pues, Hacho, si te cuento, en verdad es medio chistoso. Pues, en verdad, Chily y Topo nació porque desde chamaquito, donde nosotros nos criamos, Cabo Rojo, Puerto Rico, siempre hemos vivido ahí y estábamos ahí con todo el corillo de nosotros, los panas de nosotros, mi hermano mayor y todo eso. Y en verdad, pues allá en el barrio siempre nos bautizaron así Chily y Topo desde chamaquito. Y en verdad, pues cuando empezamos a hacer freestyle y a hacer muchas cosas de música, pues decidimos Chily y Topo porque es que en verdad no hay más nada. La verdad, Chily y Topo. Pero sí fui invitado a la serie de Pablo.
Entonces, ¿mudaron de Puerto Rico a Nueva York ahora? ¿Vive en Nueva York ahora?
Sí.
Y ese cambio, viviendo, porque yo lo vi mucho en los videos, yo boricua, pero yo viví en Washington Heights también a muchos años. Entonces, la influencia de Nueva York y la comunidad dominicana en Nueva York en el Heights, ¿cómo, bregando con esta población, cómo afecta su música? Porque ustedes son bien boricuas, pero ahora tienen el tiempo para conocer otros grupos como dominicanos y la gente de Nueva York.
Un giro 360. Para no mentirte, yo siento que los dominicanos son los más que nos han apoyado aquí en New York.
Seguro.
La
Yo lo vi
segunda-
en los videos. Siempre está con 100 dominicanos. En cada...
Eso es la segunda familia de nosotros, ¿sabes?
Es todo lo mismo, viene siendo todo lo mismo, depende en el tiempo y el momento de la comunidad, porque cuando viene cerca, cuando vamos para los barrios boricuas, donde están más puertorriqueños, es lo mismo, es el mismo amor en todos lados. Lo que pasa es que si uno está aquí y uno está concentrado trabajando, uno va a trabajar mayormente con lo que está más alrededor de uno, ¿entiendes? Eso no le hace más de esto, porque depende de la comunidad donde viva. Porque si vamos para el Bronx, para donde están todos los amigos míos de Puerto Rico, yo soy criado en Puerto Rico desde chiquito. Está todo, aparece todo el mundo de todos lados, hay apoyo de todos lados. Eso es lo bueno, eso es parte buena de nosotros, la energía de nosotros aquí en Nueva York, que podemos colaborar con todo el mundo, no tengamos...
Así que pronto veremos a Chily y Topo de demboceros.
Fuerte con
Tenemos
todo.
un clase de dembow.
De todo.
Hay que buscar a la perversa y a toda esa
Ellos
gente.
van a hacer, vamos a poner, van a ser los reyes de reggaetón, del marroneo, porque
Sí, pues
el
eso
DJ
es grande, porque no empezaron por ahí.
porque mayormente los artistas cuando empiezan vienen con mucha energía y hay que dejarlo que suelten la energía. Eso es lo que yo he podido aprender en el tiempo que llevo. Cada vez que sale un artista, viene que quiere comerse todo, que quiere romper todo, hasta que se va acomodando y tú entiendes, tú el que nace no sale corriendo, nace, ve, tiene que empezar hasta que coja fuerza para gatear, caminar, hasta que puede correr, ¿entiendes? Todo
Bueno,
Claro
bueno,
que
mil gracias a Chily y Topo y Frankie. Vamos a apoyar a los nenes de reggaetón 100%. Un saludo a otro miembro de su staff, Melissa, who made these arrangements. So we're going to continue to collaborate y queremos apoyar a ustedes 100%. Y cuando termine la pandemia, vamos a Nueva York para apoyar y colaborar ahí localmente. Y si Dios quiere, en Puerto Rico y Santo Domingo también. Sulaih, any final thoughts before the end of the show?
¿Qué momento? ¿Dónde usted está ubicado? ¿Dónde usted está ubicado?
Estamos en Filadelfia.
Sí.
Oh, nosotros
Estamos
vamos
cerquita, sí. Estamos
vamos
cerquita,
allá. En la semana que viene vamos a estar en Philly.
Okay,
Un saludo
wonderful.
por gente de Philly.
Gracias, un placer a ambos.
Exacto. Sulaih, any final thoughts?
Para los Chily y Topo, baby, los menores.
En todas las redes sociales.
Mucho éxito.
Perfecto. Sulaih, any final thoughts before we wrap the show? That was a lot of fun.
That was such a
It's gonna be interesting to see how los nenes grow up hasta los hombres. They're ahead of the game, no doubt about it.
I'm so excited for them. They have a lot of great songs up on YouTube. You know, they have this remix that they did for this, really popular song, and I can't wait to see how they continue to grow.
Sulaih Picorelli, thank you so much for hosting the show with me and
Thank
talking
you for
politics and reggaeton. And we had a great interview. You did a great job helping me interview Barbara Lizzet Sanchez. We're going to support her in her television career. Now she's going to be on a new reality show. Y otra vez, Chily y Topo, estamos contigo, ustedes 100%. We're going to finish the show with their newest video on YouTube. So support Chily y Topo, and we'll be back on Bomba Live next week. With Christina Vega will return with me. We have some very special announcements about the second annual Bomba Live, Sulaih, so which you're going to be a part of as well. So thank you so much, Sulaih, and we'll see you next week.
¿Quién es? Chily y Topo, cabrón.
Yo, pero ¿qué pasó?
¿Cómo que qué pasó?
¿Qué pasó?
No. La maldad me corre por la sangre. Tengo a tu gente contra y no va a haber quien te salve. Rezale a tu santo que te guarden. Que andamos con la FN para que la vuelta no salte. Me compré una FN, me compré una FN, ey. Me compré una FN para meterle a ustedes y es que lo mantiene. Ey. Me compré una FN, me compré una FN, sí. Aunque todos somos nenes, que con los menores no les conviene. No, me compré una FN, me compré una FN, ey. Me compré una FN para meterle a ustedes y es que lo mantiene. Me compré una FN, me compré una FN, sí. Aunque todos somos nenes, que con los menores no les conviene. No, me compré una FN y unos palos más para meterle a tu combo. Me meto para allá y aparecen los biombos. ¿Será que están cooperando para los tombos? Y yo no lo dudo, manín. por eso los duros en ustedes no invierten ni 1000. Sigue roncándome bajo perfil que yo te doy la cara porque en la calle andamos clean. Vos, balas de más, peines de tensiones, pegado.